AV in your ears, that's Ambush Vid, giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my voice, Steve, Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
Hi, I'm John Kapelos. I am the eyes and ears of this institution, and you are listening to Fascination Street Podcast. And by the way, that clock is 20 minutes fast.
Yeah! AV in your ears, that's Ambush Vid, giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my voice, Steve, Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Brian Huskey. Brian is an actor, a musician, a screenwriter, and formerly a podcaster. You have seen Brian in everything from Sonic commercials to Charles Schwab commercials to the TV show Veep, Bob's Burgers, Running Point, and even Beavis and Butthead. In this episode, we talk about his journey to becoming an actor and a voiceover professional. We talk about how he found his way into acting through the high school and college years, and we focus on some of the projects that he did along the way. We talk a little bit about the podcast that he had during COVID, which was called Bald Talk, where him and his co-host talk to mostly bald people about bald things and comedy and self-worth and perception. It's a lot of fun. I've listened to 4, 5, 6 episodes. It's a blast. They don't do it anymore, but there's still about 90 episodes available out there. We also talk about some of his musical endeavors, and he even lets me play his favorite song from his college band, Bicycle Face, which was actually signed to a record label. So that's dope. We talk a little bit about our mutual friend, Anna Vocino, and how cool is she. But mostly, we talk about some of the pitfalls and some of the struggles of becoming an actor and a voice actor, and some of the gatekeeping that happens, and where one finds the confidence to keep striving toward that dream. I can't thank Brian enough for doing this. I had a blast. You guys are going to enjoy this as well. You'll see Brian everywhere. He's in everything. There's even a movie coming out called Finestra that he is in, and it is sort of a horror movie based on an Ozempic-like pill. So look for that wherever it comes out. Right now it's in the festival circuit, I believe, but keep an eye out for that. And this is my conversation with actor, musician, and voiceover talent, Brian Huskey.
Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Brian, the Husk man himself. Husky, how you doing today, bro?
I'm good. How are you? How's it going?
I cannot complain.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brian Huskey. That's right, the Brian Huskey. You know him from everything from Veep to Central Park, Another Period, Bob's Burgers, Running Point, but most notably, you know him from Bald Talk.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about all kinds of things, but first, Brian, what I like to do is I like to start from the beginning. It helps us understand how the guests got from where they were to where they are. So where were you born and raised, man? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. I lived there until I went to college in Greensboro, North Carolina in 87.
To be what?
To be what? That's a broad question. I was interested in comedy, maybe comedy writing, so I became an English major, but there's a lack of mentors that I was encountering that would kind of say, like, you know, if you want to do comedy writing, maybe you should do English and then the comms department. But I got turned off by the comms department because everyone just kind of like said, felt like a basic cable station, you know? So I was taking stabs at comedy stuff, and every sort of avenue I was trying, I literally went to the theater department. I was like, hey, I don't know anything about improv, but I'd like to do start an improv group. And the guy kind of shamed me and said, like, well, unless you dedicate your life to theater, you can't play with its tools. I tell that story in all my origin stories because I want people to understand like how impacting it is. If someone is sort of saying like, I'm interested in this, be a gateway.
Not a gatekeeper?
Yeah, not a gatekeeper, not a sort of like resentment keeper, which was my read on it. I was like, I think you're bitter that you're a teacher, you know?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I turned my focus sort of like I did a bunch of stuff at the radio station and I started playing a band and I just put everything into the band. And then I got really into photography. I just kept doing things that were kind of taking me on different paths. And then I ended up in New York to go to photo school. I went photo school for just 1 year and I was roommates with Rob Corddry. And then he was like, "You're funny. You should do this stuff." And that's kind of what I needed as someone that felt like they were in the know of what I was sort of wanting to do, to say like, yeah, do this.
It's remarkable whenever I talk to people, the people that make an impact in their lives. Like that teacher made an impact in your life, but kind of in a negative way. And then like he was literally closing doors on you. And then Rob Corddry, you're just like, "Hey, roommate." And he's like, "You're funny. Let me hold the door open for you and let's go in together."
Yeah, yeah, because he was going from touring with the National Shakespeare Company, which sounds much more prestigious than it is. It was like an indie rock band. They travel around in this like shitty van and kind of like ate ramen. Yeah, he was sort of interested in comedy too. So I think he felt a little bit of like, we're both kind of fascinated by this stuff, but not totally clear on what the entry point is. And so for both of us, I think, he stumbled on the Upright Citizens Brigade, just going to see the shows. And then he's like, "Yeah, come see these shows." And then he started to do classes, like one round of classes ahead of me. You know, I was still kind of shaking in my boots a little bit.
Was this still in New York?
This is still in New York, probably like 97, something like that.
So then eventually you joined UCB, right? Was that also in New York?
Mm-hmm. That was also in New York. We were fortunate enough to be maybe the second round of classes they had ever taught. So it was a very small pool of people. It wasn't as cutthroat. It was much more, it was really reflective and similar to the music scene that I'd been involved in, where it was really supportive and everyone is sort of pursuing the same experience. And then it's a little bit competitive, you know, because you find your groups and then you kind of like compete for stage time and then you jump into each other's shows and stuff. So the model of it made a lot more sense than what I'd encountered in going to theater, where it felt like this much more formal experience of like, you do the work and you suffer and you listen to a person who has a vague, you know, I'm not from Britain, but I have a vague, you know, British accent in my teaching.
Sounds like James Lipton.
Yeah, exactly. The gatekeepers were really part of the gate building. I mean, you know, if we really want to have a clunky metaphor, the big difference was collective versus exclusive. That's what I needed for sure.
More of a rising tide kind of a thing. Lifts all boats.
Yeah, and also I think the other thing was I flourish and enjoy collaborative stuff much more so than the me show. You know, I like being a part of something that's being built versus being the sole builder. You know, because I did a couple of TV specials for Adult Swim.
Mr. Neighbor's House?
Mr. Neighbor's House, Mr. Neighbor's House 2, still available on YouTube and maybe on the Adult Swim website.
If you can find them.
If you can find them. You can find them. Don't disparage. Don't be the gatekeeper. Come on.
I'm sorry. You can find them on YouTube, but it's a lot harder to find them on Comedy Central.
Yeah. Or on Adult Swim. Adult Swim is like they organize their websites like they organize their business. It's just like, I don't know, we got it somewhere in here.
It's here.
It's here. It's in the back room somewhere. Just go root around this digital vault. But that thing, I was like, when I was interviewing people and stuff, I was like, I'm going to rely on you for your expertise. I want you to bring your ideas and don't think that there's an idea that you're trying to please me with. Like, please yourself, and that will probably get me excited.
So you get excited when other people are pleasing themselves?
Yes.
Nice. I know that you said you prefer to work that way, where it's, you know, you're not the focus. You're just kind of part of the team. When did you stumble upon that is how you prefer to work? Because, I mean, I'm sure you weren't like that right out of the gate. Like, there was some discovery along that way. When did you discover that part?
I will say with full vulnerability that part of that discovery was necessitated by me not giving myself permission early on, having a little bit of imposter syndrome. So I think I had to kind of enter into bigger arenas feeling a little protected. I don't know when I discovered that. I think maybe the biggest discovery of that was when I took a stab at doing stand-up versus doing improv. Like with stand-up, it's like, I feel lonely. This is lonely, and everybody seems very competitive, and I feel vulnerable. And for some people, the competitive part is fuel, and for me, it was a dampener, an inhibitor.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot less on your shoulders if it's more of a team experience, right? Like the whole weight of the project is not resting on whether or not you're fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like bringing all those other people in and their ideas. Yeah, I think that just leaves more room for the success of it all and less pressure.
Yeah. And then the converse of that, I think, is like for me, there's definitely a learning curve when you work with somebody on something or other people on something, letting go of credit, that you're cool with the credit being a shared experience, even if it's disproportional in the execution. If you're like, well, you know what? I actually wrote this script pretty much myself and your name is on it. That's just part of it. And I think that's a huge part of TV and film. I kind of learned that when I did Parks and Rec. I did like the second episode they did or something, just like a little bit in it. And I said to the writer, I was like, man, you wrote such a great episode. And he was immediately like, oh, I didn't write it. It's like, it's a group effort and stuff. And he had a lot of the kind of energy that I used to bring to things where I was like, shove off compliments and kind of qualify it for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was instructional for me because I was like, oh, I didn't understand how TV episodes were really written. But he kind of explained, it was like, I'm kind of the wrangler, you know, but it's like it's always a collective thing.
I have a buddy in LA. He is a TV writer, and he has been a professional TV writer, paying all of his bills solely with this for like 25 years.
Wow.
And you can't find a single thing that says written by this guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not the titled writer on anything, but somehow he's made his bones.
Yeah. There are guys who have whole careers of doing, or I mean, back when we used to do those, but we don't do them anymore. Pilots. Every year they would have a pilot they would make for the networks, and it wouldn't get made. But they're like, well, come back next year. I knew a guy who did that for like 15 years. It was just always sort of like this untitled so-and-so project, and it just never.
But he was getting paid every time? Every single time it just didn't get picked up?
Every single time it didn't get picked up. It was always sort of like, we're going to extend your development deal. I don't know what the good fortune was, you know, if he had somebody, but it was just a thing. It was like, and he got to the point where he was like, I'm not happy. This kind of feels like I'm making these beautiful cakes and dumping them in the river every year.
That's kind of how I feel about script doctoring. Like, is that a thing still? Do you use script doctor? And do script doctors get their name on anything?
No, but I've been part of like roundtables for like punch-ups, you know, where you sort of like, we need some more jokes here,
This is a 4, we need a 7. Somebody give me something funnier.
Yeah. We need, like, we're rewriting the scene, so it has to connect to some other idea. So I had a writing partner for a while, and we redid a script. I did a rewrite on it. So that does happen for sure, completely. And then you get into arbitration, like, as a friend of mine did it turned into like a big high profile kind of perennial movie that plays every year. It's just like, oh, it's time for this movie to play. And
this project that you worked on?
No, this friend of mine worked on. Okay. And he did so much changing to it that he had to fight he did what's called arbitration, where you have to kind of go through and prove, like, here's the original one, here's everything I changed.
So this is the percentage that I wrote-ish?
Yeah, and I don't know what the percentage is, but he was just shy of it. It was like it's a very painful kind of...
So it was Groundhog Day?
It was Groundhog Day. It was yeah. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah.
So you said that, you know, the second episode or whatever of Parks and Rec is kind of where you learned that, you know, maybe not everybody's name that is a writer is on the script.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when you were growing up, you were kind of a big fan of Bob Hope. And then when you found out that he had writers, it kind of like blew your mind and disappointed you. Did you not carry that into your professional career? Did you like forget that lesson that you had learned?
I guess. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, my assumption was if you were titled as the writer on an episode that you did the outline for it, like that you were assigned the kind of like execution of it and stuff. It is kind of different show to show.
Sure.
But the way they were sort of saying, it's like, no, this is everyone is hugely involved in every episode. So
when you did find out that Bob Hope had writers and that he wasn't just writing all that himself, how did that change your view on comedy and writing?
It made me more aware that comedians are kind of a brand. Once you have the voice of that brand, that's kind of the sweet spot. You know what I mean? I have no idea if Seinfeld has supportive writers and stuff. I imagine if he does award shows and stuff, they always have people for those kind of things.
Right.
But for their exclusive act, I know for a fact that they're just comedians like, nope, I write everything. It's all me. Or I have a writing partner who understands my voice a little bit. You know, it's like Andy Kaufman had Tom Samuda. Everyone's sort of like Andy Kaufman, but he is equally part that relationship with Tom Samuda for the bits they came up with and the concepts of like what they're messing with and pushing and stuff.
I think Neil Brennan was that for Dave Chappelle, at least, you know, in the first half of Dave Chappelle's career. I think that's how that went.
Yeah. To answer your question, I wasn't like, oh my God. It was just, there's so many things in show business that you kind of, once you peer behind the curtain, you're like, oh yeah, there's a guy operating some levers. The front image is total control and execution and sort of this inherent like effortlessness to things. So a lot of times the more effortless it seems, probably the more sweaty it is behind the curtain.
That makes sense, right? It's that duck analogy, right?
What's the duck?
Well, the duck just looks like it's floating along minding its own business, but under the water, those feet are kicking like crazy.
Going like crazy, yeah, yeah.
Hey, streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors. Let's get back into it.
You mentioned earlier that you were in some bands growing up. Were you in a high school band called the Winkermans?
Yes, we were called the Winkermans.
And what kind of music was this?
It's just cover band, kind of a mismatch of my friend Tim and my friend Duncan, and then Yates on drums, and our friend David as the singer. But yeah, we just wanted to do a band.
Are you doing Billy Joel? Are you doing Judas Priest? What are you doing?
We're doing REM, Velvet Underground is such a mismatch. Then it's like the Joker by
Steve Miller.
Yeah. All this. And if we learned it from our respective guitar teachers, we brought it in, and then we started learning the ones we wanted to learn.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and we played like, you know, the high school big Saturday festival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then we played in the gym, you know, for like, we had an actual assembly where we got to play and stuff.
Nice.
So it was cool.
Why music?
Why music?
What drew you to music?
I don't know. I mean, I think my step siblings were both really good at guitar, and my step sibling Kendall sort of showed me some stuff. I was around it enough. My mom played a little bit of guitar. My dad tried to, but he had broken his finger and it healed in such a way that he couldn't make certain chords.
Oh, that sucks.
I know. He kind of said then he moved over to sort of like trying keyboard, but that didn't fly either. So yeah, I think I was just around it, but getting into like indie music in high school was definitely one of my self-discovery things that I discovered. I was like, I've tried these other, like liking these other bands, and they drive me crazy and make me uncomfortable. And so finding something that no one else knew about that you had to kind of like seek out, it just felt like my secret discovery, you know, that I could share with my friends.
Gotcha.
So it was always kind of cool with that.
And you said it made you uncomfortable. Uncomfortable like the way you feel at musicals? Uncomfortable, or a different kind of uncomfortable?
Just like annoyed, just like uncomfortable, and like it's almost like going on a date with someone and it's like, yeah, I guess I'm attracted to them. Sure, I'll make out with them, but it's probably going to feel shitty because I don't actually feel that way. Like my friends were really into the Grateful Dead, and I was like, yeah, I'm into them too. And I kind of hated them, but I was just going along.
That is so funny. I was working at this place a long time ago, and there was this brand new band that had come out. They were called Creed.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought the album, and I was like, this is amazing. And I took it to work, and I was playing it. And this dude, he was in bands. He was all, I'm music. I'm the music guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, this is amazing. Can I borrow it? And I was like, sure. And then he brought it back the next day, and he just kind of threw it at me. And I go, what's up with you?
Dare
and he
you?
goes, I saw these dudes on MTV. I'm no longer interested. I was like, whoa.
That's funny. He's not into the package. He liked the sound. He didn't like the package.
He liked them until he found out everybody else did too. Okay, so then did you go from the Winkermans to Bicycle Face or to Toboggan?
To Bicycle Face. That was when I started doing it in college. And that's what I did maybe a little too long. I really liked playing music and I liked recording it. And we had gotten to do an album. We didn't do a very good job with it because none of us knew what we were doing, and neither did the sound guy.
And neither did Moist, the record label.
And neither did Moist Records. Yeah, so there was a learning curve to that. But afterwards, it was kind of like I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. My girlfriend and I were not figuring out our stuff. So that's what led me to, because I was doing photography in the midst of all that. I was doing photography and I was doing landscaping to kind of make the bills. But I was like, yeah, this is not what I fully want to do. I kept doing stuff like that. Things that I'm good at and I really enjoy, but it didn't feel like, yeah, this is my comfortable space of like, I can say I'm this. I always said like, yeah, I play music, non-musician. I play music.
So you're just kind of doing the thing that people are supposed to do at that age, just trying all the things and see what fits the best?
I guess so. It didn't feel that way to me. Everything felt like, and I think my family is like, what are you now? Now you're a photographer?
What are you now?
Okay. Yeah. So you're going to be a writer, and then you were going to be in a band, and then you're all of them at the same time. And then now and then when I got to actor, they're like, okay,
They're
sure.
like, why not?
Great. Is poet next? That seems like you're really moving up the rung of how not to make money.
That is funny. Now, Toboggan was an actual band, right?
No, it was just my friend Scott Armstrong and Brian Frank. They were playing music together, and they're like, you play bass. Do you want to come add some stuff to these songs? And then Scott one day was like, I booked us some space at this recording studio. So we just like put a little EP out.
The Remastered Bastards?
Nope, that's a Bicycle Face.
Son of a bitch!
Yep, so close and yet completely wrong.
100% wrong.
1,000% wrong.
So the Remastered Bastards was it an EP?
It was like all these demos and stuff that we had not released. And if memory, and I think it was our 7 inches as well.
So it was like a bunch of B-sides?
Yeah, it was a bunch of like, we had done a bunch of like 7-inch, EP things that had like 3 or 4 songs on them with various like Detox and Squealer Records, all these little, startup labels. Yeah, and then there's some stuff that we had recorded in hopes of recording. We're trying to record with David Lowery at one point. So we recorded a bunch of stuff in a barn. Yeah, so it was just all the bastards that never found a home.
What is your favorite song from the Remastered Bastards?
I think my favorite overall song of all of ours is called Oatmeal Truck.
Oatmeal Truck?
Oatmeal Truck. It's just super fun to play, and I find it very pleasing. I like the song.
Still to this day, you still like it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Feel free to say no, and I'll cut this out.
Okay.
Can I play it?
Can you play it? Oh, sure. You mean on your thing? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Make sure you get it from that and not from the Trust and Obey album reissue, because then you have the demo version of Oatmeal Truck.
So make sure I get it from Remastered Bastards?
You have to make sure of that.
I will make sure of that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You mean to cue it up like a DJ?
Yeah, introduce it like a radio DJ, man.
All right. Next up, we got indie favorites from North Carolina, Bicycle Face, with a tune called Oatmeal Truck. Let's take a listen.
Across your face, and I know that words well put can looks like we're both in London, standing in the path of the opium drug.
Is naked babies still a thing?
Yeah, we will occasionally do an improv show. The San Francisco Sketch Fest just brings up a bunch of people, and we've done a bunch of those. And we're actually working on something together, trying to come up with a pitch for something right now.
Who else is in Naked Babies?
So it's myself, Rob Corddry, John Ross Bowie, and Seth Morris.
John Ross Bowie. That guy is pretty sick.
He's pretty sick, yeah. He's a good dude.
That dude's awesome.
They're all incredibly funny and brilliant.
They are all incredibly funny. John Ross is the only one that I have had any interaction with. He's never been on the show, but I've had interactions with him. And
what was your interactions with him?
it was just through social media. I was asking him questions about somebody else, and he was just open and honest and vulnerable and whatever. He was giving me the answers, and it was really cool. I was doing a little bit of research on a guest, and he was open, and he seemed like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Plus, I love him and everything I've seen, so he's dope.
Yeah, he is dope. They're all dope.
They are all dope. Okay, this is weird. Well, the question is weird, not the fact.
This whole situation is weird.
Sure, yeah, there you go. So when you initially obtained representation, it was based on a movie that you and Jason Mantzoukas wrote and sold? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Jason Mantzoukas, everybody would know as Adrian Pimento from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, amongst everything. He's sort of like a person as like, you know him from...
Yeah, you know him from everything.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that's his most notable role, I think, because he was so bonkers in it. He just drew all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what the movie was? And how is it that you got representation based on that movie?
The movie's called Amnesia, and we... I'll do good stuff.
I forget. I forget.
Yeah, it didn't get made. It went through a very painful sort of like... We're going to make this. No, we're not going to make this. All right, this studio wants to make it. Oh, we're mad at that studio, so we're not going to release this property to that studio. That kind of fun Hollywood bullshit.
So that's called development, right? And it's just in development hell?
That would be a turnaround. What happens is like when a studio buys an idea and you execute that idea, they can hold on to it for a certain amount of time after, you know, your contract for writing is done. And they can say like, yeah, we're going to decide if we're going to do something with this. After that, they put it in turnaround, which means that if there's another party interested, they can buy it from them and then they can make the property. Sometimes you can use that as leverage against another studio of like, we know you want this, but you made this show. And we're mad at you for making that show because we should have bought it, but we didn't. So we're going to punish you for our mistake. That kind of thing. It's very mom and dad are fighting and the kids are suffering kind of.
That's got to be fun. There's
a lot of damaged childhoods here in Hollywood.
Sure.
For sure.
Do you think that movie will ever get made?
I don't think so.
Who owns it now? Does it ever revert back to you and Jason?
I mean, we wrote it for Paramount. Maybe. And then at one point, Lionsgate was interested in it. Yeah, I think Paramount just has it. I think we could get it back, but it feels like that ship has sailed and then it sank.
So do they just own it forever? Like they bought it, they didn't rent it?
Yeah, they didn't rent it. It's not a leasing option. It might revert back to us, but then it's on us to kind of go out and try to sell it again. And it is enormously hard to make movies now.
I can't even imagine how much harder it's gotten.
I've had one that's just been like just simmering in the pot for like 5 years now. Just like,
really?
Yeah, everything's lined up and then a piece goes away. You know what I mean? And we're like, okay, well, we got to fill it. We got to get this person. And then it follows the market. It follows the sort of like appetite. And then you have great things like pandemics and all sorts of things.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. But I was going to answer your question just how did we get an agent out of that? I have friends who are like, hey, my kid is interested in being an actor, or they just moved out to LA and like, can you give them advice? And I never really know what to say because it is such a crazy series of kind of like, if you get...
Your advice is to just happen to be roommates with Rob Corddry.
I know. It's kind of like my advice is like, just keep showing up to everything that seems like an opportunity. Because my experience is so many things that were maybe going to be like, oh, this is going to be a thing if I do it, aren't. Or, you know, I didn't get a part in this show on the audition, but 3 years later, someone in that casting office or someone associated with that show brings me in for something else. you kind of like are unaware of how many like seeds you're planting as you go along. But I think the thing is just to keep showing up for each opportunity and do the best you can with what's happening then. Now, the advice I give the most is like, you really, really have to be super zen about so much stuff in this. Like, you have to be so accepting of how chaotic, how out of control things are for you, and just be an acceptance of the experience. Because if you hate the experience, you kind of end up with nothing. If you're in it to kind of like, I have to get on a show, I have to be a movie star, I have to do this, it's an all or nothing proposition. And you don't want to come away like putting in years of effort and be like, well, that fucking sucked and I hate it. I'm resentful. Like, you have to kind of really experience. It took me a really long time to learn that, honestly, because part of it, for me at least, is, oh, if I'm worried and I'm anxious and I'm kind of driven, then I'm doing my job. And I didn't realize I was kind of like tainting some of the experience in doing that, if that makes any sense.
How long do you think that it took you to figure that out?
It took me. I realized that after my marriage ended, and she was sort of like, you're very anxious and kind of angry and insecure. And I think a big part of it is like related to work.
You realized it because it was affecting your home life?
Yeah, I think so. She's a director, doesn't do it anymore, but she was trying to be a theater director. And 2 artists takes up a lot of space in that realm.
Yeah, sure.
And then it's kind of weird. It gets into the thing of like, well, I'm the artist who's actually supporting the family. So I get to be the bitchiest about it, you know?
Right. Sure. My version of art is more important because it's the one paying the bills.
Yeah, completely.
But let's just keep your crybaby. Just shut up. Just keep it to yourself because I got some stuff.
I got to do a commercial, which is the highest form of art that I will be paid disproportional amount of money for. It's very strange.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. I love setting up a segue.
When is the last time you ate at Sonic, and will you ever eat there again?
I cannot even say. I think the last time I ate there was probably out of desperation because nothing else was around, like 3 years after I ended my tenure with them.
Without numbers, was that a lucrative project for you?
Yes, incredibly. I still do commercials and I still show up for that opportunity because they have saved my life repeatedly. For me, it's weird to square a lot of times because it's just a big part of our work. There is no show, movie, project that you can be a part of that is not connected to some evil corporation.
Right. Yeah.
At this point,
they own everything, right?
They own everything. So I think it's kind of like, if I'm going to do that, then I have to balance it out with whatever my ethics and moral convictions are and how I kind of move through the world with that. That's the best I can do with it.
You can't pay your rent with good vibes and good intentions.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Warning. Not listening to Fascination Street podcast may cause unexpected side effects. Side effects may include sudden fits of boredom, irrational curiosity about everything you missed, the inability to name your favorite podcast interview, spontaneous ignorance of obscure celebrity stories, talking to coworkers about nothing because you didn't hear the latest episode. Other symptoms may include excessive use of the phrase, wait, what happened? Chronic seriousness with no trace of laughter or delight, unexplainable urge to scroll aimlessly instead of being entertained. In rare cases, not listening may lead to wandering aimlessly through podcast apps, overexposure to true crime reruns, and thinking you're cooler than you actually are. If you find yourself experiencing any of these symptoms, stop what you're doing immediately and download Fascination Street Podcast. Ask your podcaster if Fascination Street Podcast is right for you. Spoiler alert, it is.
Let's get back into it.
Hit me with some redneck slam poetry.
Can I defer?
No. No, thank you. I will pass.
Too early in the morning.
What is redneck slam poetry?
I mean, that was just a bit, this character I used to do, the redneck slam poet. And it was just the idea of these hyper earnest, deeply sort of like more posing urban kind of political, social commentary poets, but jammed into a redneck who doesn't have any objectivity about what he's saying, how he's saying it, but he feels like he's like really in the pocket. So that's kind of it.
Nice. Was that your idea?
Yeah.
Did you come up with that from growing up in Charlotte?
I don't know. The term came in my head. I was like, oh, what would that be? Yeah. And it's just about him sort of like stalking the stage and being really super dramatic and stuff.
Stalking the stage. I love that.
Yeah. I had a NASCAR hat
Well, I mean, is there any kind of other hat except maybe an O'Reilly one?
Right? Yeah, I could be. Yeah, I could have had it from like a bass fishing competition.
Tell me about the acting role in third grade that made you decide that you wanted to be an actor.
Oh, the characters were the Moominshants. I don't know if you're old enough.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That is the nicest thing
Yeah.
anyone has said to me today.
I think you're like 12 or so. It seems
I
like
am
with the beard.
75 years old. Go ahead.
Good lighting.
Thank you.
Moominshants was this like 70s mime duo that would always show up on shows.
Okay.
No, they were like a performative arts kind of thing. They would do like silent word things and they would like put toilet paper on their face and make faces out of them and stuff. It was very weird, very 70s. But then their other version is the Moominshants, which is like this kid's book, which I've never been able to find anywhere. But they kind of look like hairless mole people. I played Papa Moominshants and I just got a lot of laughs at it. And I was like, oh.
So this was such a popular thing in the 70s that your elementary school put on a play.
It's just a book. It's just a kid's book.
But you guys did a play about it or no?
The teacher is like, we're going to learn to do a play and we're going to kind of figure out like how to do a story and stuff. So we took that book and she's like, okay, we're going to make a script out of it. And so we kind of went through like little stages and stuff of it. But the thing that got me hooked was getting laughs and then having a picture in the school paper of me holding Frank Middleton in my arms after he jumped up in my arms scared. And I just got a huge laugh from that thing. And there's a huge booger in my nose in that picture.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is the best.
It's right in the center, just this floating white thing. I was like, yep, third grade. That's pretty on track.
Oh my God. Do you have that picture?
Somewhere.
That should be framed and
I know.
that should be the first thing people see when they walk in your house.
Do a smaller one, just a frame of the booger, just the nose and the booger.
This was what led to all of this.
This is it. This booger inspired me. Fun fact, my girlfriend's most despised word in the world is booger. If you ever want to cripple her with annoyance, just say booger.
That's generally not my goal, but
Yep.
noted.
Yeah. If anybody wants to take her down with words.
I was talking with someone, this was a long time ago before I had a podcast. I was talking to someone face to face. I was interviewing them for something else. And I was talking to them and the guy was wearing a white shirt, but at some point during the day, something tragic had happened. And so there was a booger,
Oh.
like right on his chest.
Uh-huh.
It had dried. So there was just like this dried booger on his chest. And the whole time I'm talking to him, it was distracting. And I was trying to keep eye contact, but I was not doing very well.
He just, hey man, my eyes are up here. Come on.
And I was just glad it wasn't a woman. And then at a certain point, I pulled my phone out and acted like I was taking a note or something. And I took a picture and sent it to my wife.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm going to quote a thing and then I want to talk about the thing. Okay?
Great. I love how you set me up for what you're about to do. Here
That's
we go.
what I do. Are you ready?
No gotcha journalism. That's what this is.
Life is unfair when you lose all your hair. Well, now you've got someone to talk to. Brian and Charlie have a hairless party. They're all there to invite you. No hairdos, no shampoos, interviews, only on Bald Talk. Tell me about Bald Talk.
R.I.P. Bald Talk. That was a podcast that saved my sanity probably during pandemic because it was one of the few connectors to the outside world beyond just like other Zoom conversations having with friends and stuff. But yeah, it was my friend Charlie Sanders and I. We were just hanging out after doing a show. And I was like, what's going on, Charlie? He's like, I got this dumb idea for a podcast called Bald Talk. And the original idea was like, we get like major celebrities and we ask them only questions about being bald. And they're very limited. And I was like, well, that's funny. How long could that go on for? And then he was like, yeah, maybe. And so we were kind of talking about that because he wanted to do a little bit of like, it was almost kind of like a Conan meta bit kind of thing where it's just like the restrictions or what was funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a TikTok podcast interviewer woman whose whole style is the awkward interview. I can't remember her name.
Okay.
But I have a friend who's a fan of hers and they're like, I'm starting to see the end of the road with this, you know. It was great at first, and now I'm like, I know exactly what it's going to be, and it's not rewarding, and I actually want to hear things. So it kind of morphed into a thing. I was like, being bald is very vulnerable, it's kind of one of the few things that men experience that's akin to like what women deal with from us from birth.
Sure.
It kind of went into a thing of like, let's do this. Let's get more into conversation. And then the hope was that pandemic would not be 2.5 years or whatever nuttiness it was. Then we could kind of expand it and do bits and then all that kind of stuff. But it never really kind of got out of this scenario, where it's just sort of like, all right, log on, interview, bye.
Right.
But it was gratifying.
So listeners, it is still available. I recommend it. I think it was hilarious and insightful because it was a
cool
comedy interview show, but most of the episodes you guys do sort of veer into self-worth and perception and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. And there's almost 90 episodes.
Yeah.
Tons of names, bunch of really cool stories. You even have women on there, which I thought was really cool.
We had some women. We had people with hair. We had haired people.
We had haired people.
Hairos, we call them.
Of the episodes I listened to, which is, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them, there's one quote. I want to see if you can guess who said this on your show. They said it to you.
Okay.
This should help narrow it down because Charlie was not on that show. It was just you and this guest.
Oh, God. Okay.
This person said, and I quote, "I beseech you in the bowels of Christ to consider not doing any more limericks."
Dear God, I have no idea. I'm trying to think, who was I going solo with? I don't know. No idea. Who was it?
It was amazing. It was Peter Sagal from Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me and all the other stuff.
Oh, yes. That sounds exactly like something he would say.
You tried to do this limerick game like he does on his show, and he just could not take himself out of the proper cadence of a limerick.
Yes.
Every time you dropped one, he was just like, I don't even, what is happening? This isn't a limerick. And every single time, and he would go, I'm not trying to say that you don't know how to write a limerick, but you don't know how to write a limerick. Like every single time. It was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Any chance that you're going to pick that back up and do some more bald talk?
I don't think so.
No.
Charlie doesn't seem to be interested in.
Y'all are just over it.
Yeah, I think it did its thing. The podcast world, as you probably experience on a daily basis, is pretty crowded.
It is these days. It didn't used to be. I tell you what.
How long have you been doing this?
8 years.
8 years? Oh, wow. Dang. Yeah. If I do one, I want it to be just so easy.
You just walk in and talk and somebody else does everything else?
Yep.
Like that?
That's totally. And that
I'm
was
the talent.
That's what we were kind of like gearing for. Because at first, like we did it with iHeart Media and we had like producer and stuff. But then we were like discovering, as with all things, just like, oh yeah, you still got to do a lot of it.
So how did you get hooked up with iHeart? How did you start off with a company?
Again, it was Charlie. And I think through his manager, they just knew that they were taking pitches for stuff. And so more specifically, Will Ferrell was starting his podcast.
Oh, okay.
Shingle. He had a deal with them. And so we just pitched it to him. And I had done stuff with him before. And then he's with Charlie's management company. So it's that kind of like, there's a certain amount of vetting that went on before we went in.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you were way, way younger, maybe high school, maybe before, but I think high school, you were making VHS murder movies with your buddy Bo Webb at his lake house. Were these things that you and him wrote and made?
Wrote? No, not really. They were dumb. It was just like 6 high school boys with a camera, just like, let's make up a dumb thing.
Did you have any idea when you were doing that was going to be what you did?
No, I don't think I had any idea. I mean, it's interesting because my daughter wants to go into this business. She wants to do stuff behind the camera. And so she's shot some videos for friends and she writes stuff. I love seeing her just do it for the experience, just to see like, what does this feel like to you? Does it make you happy? Does it make you tense?
She's like 17 or 18 or something now, right?
She's 18. Yeah, she's going to college next year. That's a super important thing for anybody. I don't care how old you are. Like if you're interested in something, you got to start off by just messing around with it with no stakes. And then you kind of get to feel yourself feeling it. and experiencing it and kind of set up a relationship with yourself of what you want from it, what you can get from it, whatever. But I think at the time for me, it was like, okay, this feels really good to do this with my friends. The feedback loop of like that it's funny and I get to try to be funny. I love that. I will confess to being like that deeply insecure about my ability to do the things that I dreamed of for a long time.
Where did you get that confidence? A lot of the people that I talk to, they have this huge support system that boosts their confidence, and that's not what I experienced growing up. So one of the things that I'm constantly trying to figure out is what made people think they could. So like, what made you think that you could do what you do? Like, where did you gain that confidence finally?
I guess I was getting it for sure from my peers at school.
Rob Corddry.
No, yeah, pre-Rob Corddry. This is a high school. High school can be such a determinant for how well you navigate your future and stuff. But yeah, it was like I was chosen to be the commencement speaker because I was funny. Like they wanted a funny speaker. I was given the opportunity to write the senior follies, which is kind of like someone saying like, you're going to write for SNL to me. I was like, oh my God.
Sure.
Like those little things. But then I think the confidence came from that experience with my friends of being in a safe bubble of like, we have the same sense of humor. We have this secret kind of world. It feels really great. And let's just keep doing this. And that kind of, gave me some padding, I guess. And then I think when I went to college, I got some of that ripped off because the crappy theater director guy also went to the school newspaper. I was like, I want to do a cartoon and it's going to be about this guy who lives in his car. And they're like, that sounds weird. We don't want to do that. And so anytime people would say no, I'd be like, you're right. I deserve to have a no thrown in my face. So it took me a while.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about 2 more things and then I'm going to let you go.
Wow. You sound like a cop.
License and registration, please.
Please don't smash my window. I'll just roll it down. Hold on a second.
Tell me about Finestra.
That's a horror film that I did. I got involved through a mutual friend of the director that I go on hikes with. And he was like, oh yeah, I mentioned that I hike with you. And he wanted to see if you wanted to do a role in this movie. And it's the same. I'm blanking on the name of the film, but it is the film that had Demi Moore recently that was sort of about Ozempic.
The Substance.
The Substance. And I feel really bad because they were done with this movie before The Substance got released, but I think it got released before this got into festivals and stuff. So
Gotcha.
It's kind of this. It's this woman takes this weight loss wonder drug that turns her into a savage killing machine when she takes it. And she just devours people.
Nice. Is it out?
No, it's sort of on the festival circuit right now and trying to find distributors and stuff.
Okay.
But everybody involved was great. It's a great movie.
Cool. Have you seen the completed film?
I have. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's good stuff. You recommend it?
I recommend it. Yeah.
Cool.
I haven't seen The Substance. I'm really curious I'll probably see it on the TV box.
We did watch The Substance.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Demi to death. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone might have gotten their hopes up that she would win the Oscar.
Mm.
I don't think this is the film for that.
Right.
She's great, but first of all, she's not in it enough to win the Oscar, I think, in my opinion. But also, this just wasn't, it was the right vehicle for her to make a comeback, but I don't think this is I'm looking forward to seeing Finestra.
Yeah, she's not in that one, but
good. Oh, that's great. That's great.
That's good. She didn't double dip.
That'd be hilarious if she just gets that's just her thing now. She only does those movies.
I did a show for TBS called People of Earth that is a wonderful show, and I'm really sad that it only got 2 seasons. I think it's on Hulu maybe now. But there's an actress, Alice Wetterland, who's really amazing stand-up and amazing person. The premise of that show is about a support group for people who think they've been abducted by aliens. There's actually aliens living in the town. It gets into like an X-File kind of thing, but it's a comedy. She went from doing that show to a new show called Resident Alien.
Oh, with Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, yeah. And so she's like, I guess this is my thing now.
This is my niche. Yeah.
As I'm always in alien shows. I was like, there could be worse things.
There's definitely worse things. She could be relegated to only doing Sonic commercials for the rest of her life.
Yeah, totally. The guy I bought my house from, I was renting it from him at the time. He was an actor, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of pigeonholed. I'm trying to kind of get out of like the stuff I'm always cast in. I was like, well, what are you always cast as? He's like, a rapist. I was like, yeah, I don't think you want to get boxed into that one too much.
Well, good luck to him. I hope he gets out of that box.
But
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors. Let's get back into it.
The last thing I want to talk about, you mentioned People of Earth only had 2 seasons. Well, so did this other show. Tell me about how you know Anna Vocino.
Oh, Free Radio?
Mm-hmm.
I know her from Free Radio.
2 seasons, yeah.
2 seasons. It's weird that we only did 2. I remember that run being longer, but I guess it was only 2 seasons.
I think it was only 2 seasons.
I think that's right.
I could be wrong, but what are the chances I'm ever wrong? So
I don't know. I'll have to see.
2-time previous guest of the show, Anna Vocino. She speaks very highly of you.
Oh, she's great.
How was it to work with her? And tell me something cool about her that nobody knows.
If you don't know her as an actress and an improviser and comedian, you might know her otherwise. It's like, now I love this. Like, she is a gluten-free chef and creator. She has a cookbook.
She has 3 cookbooks.
Yeah, it's insane.
And a 4th one on the way. The 4th one is drinks. Yeah, baby.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's really amazing. I am gluten not intolerant, but I have an allergy. My wife at the time was intolerant, so I was just eating in that style.
Mm-hmm.
But she was like the only other person I encountered ever who had like a gluten thing.
Really?
Yeah. She was figuring it out at that point.
It was a long road for her to figure that out.
Yeah, it seems like it. But she did it. But she's just, all those guys, Lance Crawl and Sarah Baker, they're all just like good people, just funny people, kind people, meet you right where you are kind of. It was a really good experience. The thing I'll say about Anna Vocino is like, I was immediately comfortable with her. She's just so warm and welcoming, and not in any kind of self-conscious way. You're just like, oh, you're just a great person.
It's just who she is, yeah.
Yeah. When you cross those people in your lives, you're always like, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to keep that one.
Yeah.
Some of the other people that I meet, yeah, they can fuck right off. But her, yeah, I want to keep her. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Brian Huskey, tell everybody where they can find you on those social medias.
The only social medias I'm on right now is Instagram, and I am the Brian Huskey. Not to be confused with the celebrity chef Brian Huskey, who's younger than me.
There's a celebrity chef named Brian Huskey?
Yeah, he's like in his maybe late 30s, Korean descent. He was on 2 or 3 seasons of like Top Chef kind of thing.
Okay.
And for a while, he was ruining my Google alerts because it was all about him.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
I know we talked about Thinestra, but do you have some other things coming out that you wanted to maybe plug? Or I know you don't want to plug Bald Talk, even though I want you to, but.
Sure, go back to the archives, listen to them. They're floating somewhere in the internet.
They're really entertaining. Everybody really should go check them out. They're awesome.
Yeah, I'm immensely proud of them. That's my lack of awareness. I was like, I guess they're still up. I don't know.
They definitely are.
Yeah. I'm on a new season of Beavis and Butthead. I do some voices on there. I'm on the new season of King of the Hill. I do some voices on there. And then I continue to do Regular Size Rudy and his father and some other characters on Bob's Burgers. So those things are good, and I'm happy about that.
Well, anything where we can see your face?
I'm trying to think if there's anything where you can see my face right now. I mean, I'm in a Schwab commercial, but...
Charles Schwab?
Chuck Schwab. Chucky Schwab. No, it's been a tough time in town here.
For your face, not for your voice, just for your face, yeah.
For my face. I mean, I haven't done anything new. I was on Ghosts this past season. And
now, Ghosts.
Chicago Med.
Is that still going on?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of people are really loving this show, Ghosts.
Yeah, it's a good one. The people involved in that show are lovely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, and also everybody can go check out Brian in Running Point.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in that and things.
I'm in that. Well, I just go to my IMDb and see what the most recent thing is, and then Get on the platform, pay a monthly fee so you can watch one episode and then cancel it and then re-sign up later.
Love it.
That's my advice.
Also,
Yep.
Dr. Flumbordi on Central Park.
Sure. I did play that character. I don't think that show is on anymore. I think it plays on in perpetuity on Apple Plus, I guess.
Again, these monolithic corporate entities that just own everything.
It is kind of weird. But I never want to seem like I'm like, oh, yeah, I do so much stuff. But
you do, though.
I do a lot of things. And the weird thing is, like, there's so many things that you don't know where they end up on. You don't know who owns them.
Sometimes shit doesn't even come out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with cartoons, animated stuff, a lot of times it's year or two after I've done it that it actually shows up. So I kind of
you forget about it sometimes.
Yeah, I have a weak brain, and it does not make it easy for the weak of brain.
All right. Well, Brian Huskey, the Husk Man.
The Husk Man.
Is there anything we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about specifically that you wanted to talk about today? Like, did we cover the big bits?
I guess we covered the big bits. Trying to think what some big bits. No, I think that's it. I mean, I will say, like, Mr. Neighbor's House is something I'm immensely proud of. The short pitch is like if David Lynch did a kid show, it's that. It's really dark. It's really kind of almost scary, but it's very funny at the same time.
How long is it? Is it a series or a special or what?
It's a special. I think they're 22 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're 22 minutes. So
cool.
Yeah, I was hoping to do a third to kind of round out the arc of it.
What's stopping you?
They don't want to make it.
But you own it, right? Or do they own it?
They own it.
Son of a bitch.
I know, son of a bitch.
You got to start renting this stuff out instead of just selling it. You got to.
I know, everybody needs to set up a rental program for IP.
This is on lease.
I had actually heard that. Someone used that term in regards to intellectual property, that we'll lease it to you. Yeah.
Well, like I know that Kevin Smith made Clerks or whatever, and Harvey Weinstein, what was his company's name?
Oh, Miramax.
Miramax. So Miramax bought Clerks, but they only owned it for 20 years, and then it reverted back to Kevin Smith.
I feel like that's a deal that's been I think they were wanting to do that with South Park. It's a recent deal that they were sort of saying like, hey, we'll lease it to you, but you can't have it. I can't remember. It's the Wild West out here, man. I tell you what.
It is definitely the Wild West out there.
Everywhere, basically. Everywhere's the Wild West these days.
Well, Brian Huskey, dude, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic, I guess, voiceovering everything currently that's on TV schedule to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a delight. It was really nice to talk about myself, finally.
Fine. It's about time, right?
Oh, God.
Finally.
Yeah.
The pleasure was all mine. I had an absolute blast. I've been looking forward to this ever since I reached out.
Oh, cool.
You really bring it, and you brought it, and I appreciate you.
Awesome. I appreciate you too, Sue.
I love you and everything I've ever seen you in, and I will continue to keep seeing you in things and enjoying them as well.
I love that good fortune that you just gave me. Thank you so much.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. This was the bee's knees.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Opening music is the song FSP Theme, written, performed, and provided by Ambush Vin.
Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jax Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.